So Roman Reigns kicked off this week's episode of Raw, and it was kind of proof that absence does make the heart grow fonder, or that less is more, because we rarely see him do this. It was like, oh my gosh, it is Roman Reigns. But it's still very funny that him and CM Punk just didn't bother to turn up to SmackDown, because when it comes to War Games, they only care about it on Raw. On Friday nights, they have better things to do. Probably true, more power to them. Also, hello, my friends. Welcome to Ups and Downs for Monday Night Raw, the only wrestling review show you need. If there are other wrestling review shows, I've just told you, you may want them, but you don't need them. I am Simon of the Bald A-Hole, and I have the finger of power. We are going to go through what is essentially the go-home show for War Games. Good bits getting up, bad bits getting it down. We then argue in the comments before we meet up and have a lovely hug. Sound good? Let's go. Now, just as a little bit of a tease, I will tell you if you are into WWE from 2019 or big men falling on their asses, you are in for a right treat. But yes, out came Roman. He grabbed a microphone after standing there for about 45 years, just letting people make some noise. When he went, Oklahoma, you should acknowledge me. When Cody Rhodes' music played and he interrupted him instantly, because that's just what people do. And this was funny as well, because remember, there were all those rumors recently, and I suppose they could have been true. The WWE was terrified about having Cody and Roman in the same ring, because one, who knows what the reaction is going to be, and two, we don't want to tease a match that we may not do. That is not professional wrestling to me. Throw them both in the ring and let's just see what happens. If Cody gets booed, okay. If Roman gets booed, okay. And maybe we're going to get another match, but given that they are all sharing the ring at War Games, well, if you took this to mean they are going to do a round 3, well, dare I say it, that's on you. Now, Rhodes was kind of happy that Roman was on his team, but was like, I took you at your word before, but now your word is War Games. He didn't say the games part, but essentially he wanted to know, why do you want to be in this match, Roman Reigns? Fair play to Roman. He was like, don't you come in here talking to me, Cody Rhodes, with your blonde hair. I've been involved in this war for the entire year. You literally turned up 2 weeks ago. I was like, Cody, I like you. I think you're great, but he's absolutely correct. Roman then took the funniest shot because he was all like, we're never going to understand each other, but we do understand the importance of family, and my family is in this match, hence why I want to be there for my family. And I started to look around for Vin Diesel, when Cody was like, well, that sounds great. Welcome to my team. It's like, you're 12 years old, Cody. You're 12 years old. You can't say my team. You know what you're doing. So yeah, Punk agreed. He then walked out and interrupted too. This was after Cody Rhodes had tried to shake Roman Reigns' hand as well, and Roman looked at his fist like it was a dead fish or something, and CM Punk also wound up our tribal chief, because he was like, acknowledge us, like he was at some, I don't know, happy camp, where you just go around and dance around the fire. But the point is, what a strong unit they will be. When he turned to Roman, he was like, I don't need to take your word, because I know you will have your family's backs. It's not like you would screw them around and put them between a rock and a hard place. I was like, that's exactly what he did do when he was in the bloodline. He was an emotional manipulator. Cody then tried to play captain again, and of course CM Punk didn't like that when, I'm just going to call it as it was, Roman Reigns essentially said, why don't you get your penises out and let's see who's got the larger one. He was talking figuratively here, of course, saying, nobody cares who's in charge, let's just beat some people up. Ultimately, Roman just hates the vision, and he hates Paul Heyman even more than he hates CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, so let's see what's going to happen. And if you need this segment wrapped up in a nice neat little package, you can just imagine, can these people coexist at the Survivor Series? The answer is likely no. Reigns then stirred the pot one last time because he was like, man, that championship would look better on my shoulder, and he left the ring. When CM Punk took the bait, like he was on Twitter, he was like, who are you talking about? And Roman Reigns said, that's for you to figure out. So once again, we are teasing that when the time is right, he is going after a world championship. I still think Cody versus Punk is way more interesting as a WrestleMania main event, but we will wait and see. And oddly, even though of course CM Punk is great and Cody Rhodes is great, Roman Reigns is great, this was like mostly okay. Like it wasn't bad, but it didn't leave me going, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the War Games. And actually, this kind of felt like they were heading towards a triple threat match, which we should not do at WrestleMania because it's too similar to WrestleMania 41, but it's still going to get an up, right? We planted the seeds for what was going to happen at the end of the show, and sometimes just having Roman, Cody, and Punk in the ring is enough. That's why stardom in wrestling is such a crazy thing. We then continue to make the brand split completely irrelevant, because Paul Heyman was like, listen to me, Drew McIntyre. The only reason you're on Raw is because I need you in a tag team match, because the winner of said tag team match is going to have the advantage in the War Games. I was like, isn't Drew only suspended on SmackDown? So what difference does it make anyway? When Logan Paul was being a dickhead in the corner, because he was like, I think Brock Lesnar should team with Drew. Apparently, Brock Lesnar is now Beetlejuice, because Paul Heyman was like, you can't say his name. When Logan pull turned into a toddler, and of course he kept saying his name. Heyman then made it clear that Brock Lesnar is heading to Raw to find Roman Reigns and probably get better grips for his shoes, when, surprise, surprise, Logan was like, well, Braun Breaker could be the tag team partner, Braun Strowman could be the tag team partner, and Paul Heyman was like, no, Drew McIntyre, you will be teaming with Logan Paul. Don't know why I played golf there, but you could see it coming a mile away. Well, I think we got the highlight of the night because it was Gunther taking on Carmelo Hayes in the John Cena The Last Time Is Now tournament. And I just thought this was a fantastic match. And looking at 2026, of course, you want to keep pushing Gunther because it is Gunther, but it has to be a 12-month period for Carmelo. Anything you throw at him, he's like, I can handle this because I'm a very good professional wrestler. And when you allow him to be the babyface, the dude just gets it. They even did the whole Gunther was going to chop him, but Hayes got out of the way, meaning Gunther whacked Brie at the ring post instead. And they were throwing each other outside of the ring into Timmy the Timekeeper's table. And we even pretended that Carmelo Hayes was going to win via countout. Now, admittedly, WWE has been obsessed with this in the latter part of the year, but that is how Hayes got through the last round of the tournament, so we pretended here. And of course, Gunther got back in the ring at 9.999. That came after this awesome DDT off Barry Barricade as well. And even when Gunther tried to powerbomb this guy, he was like, nope, I've got a barrel of offensive moves I am going to use. When he went for nothing but net, which he also missed on Friday, he missed again. And Gunther essentially hit him with every single thing he did have. But even then, Hayes was wiggling and jiggling. When he did get totally wrecked by a last bomb of power, 1, 2, 3. Gunther goes through to the next round, and I would imagine is going to win this whole thing. What we have to talk about here as well is that there was a clear size difference here, but I don't think anybody, apart from one guy, there's always one guy, was like, oh, this is absolutely ridiculous, because Carmelo Knight Hayes knows what he's doing, and he understands how to work in these situations. So we now have to do wait and see. I can't imagine he will do much in December, although I would like it if we got to like Ilya versus Carmelo Hayes in a proper US title feud. That is how we should be using that championship, but I'm giving it up. Carmelo Hayes did great. And yeah, Gunther, he is back with a vengeance. I want to point out as well that if Gunther is able to retire John Cena, even though I think John Cena should win, we have to use 2026 that he can walk around and say, I retired Goldberg and John Cena in a single year, because that is massive, and it could be like a Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. If you lean into it correctly, you can turn Gunther into the new final boss. Jimmy and Jey Uso then found Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns hanging out backstage. One, because they probably felt left out given the opening segment, but also two, as the Usos put it out here, you're all acting like kids, right? Nobody can trust you, but you can trust the Usos, so we shall enter ourselves into the advantage match, and damn it, we are gonna win. Watch us. They then went out and lost. Still kind of feels to me like one of these guys may turn on the other, but I hope I'm wrong, so I don't think it's the right time, when once again, Roman, Cody, and Punk fell out about who the leader was going to be. This time it was CM Punk, and at first I thought he was like trying to wind them up, but I watched it again, he sounded sincere. He was like, I really need to know who is leading this team, and maybe he just gets it. You do need a captain. When? Oh boy, this one gonna make some noise. But Dominik Mysterio was out here and he was ticking all the usual boxes. He is gonna win the IC title back at the Survivor Series. He is the greatest Rey Mysterio of all time, and he is very excited about beating John Cena. And let's not forget, we all know John Cena's calendar. He's not here this evening because that mother hubbard is about to retire. However, John Cena's music then hit and this place went absolutely crazy, as you would expect. But it turns out we were going back to Vince McMahon WWE because the little person came out dressed as John Cena doing all of his mannerisms, and we even had a little cameraman that was meant to be Stu the cameraman, who of course John Cena talks to during each and every one of his entrances. Once again, I made sure I wasn't in Back to the Future 4, and I'd accidentally gone back 10 years. Because he was so small, he couldn't get in the ring either, which was the joke, and Dominik Mysterio spoke to him like he was the real John Cena. And I did appreciate what happened next, at least from a kayfabe perspective, because all of a sudden, little John Cena acted like he was the real John Cena, said Dominik Mysterio absolutely sucks, and he'll beat him at the Survivor Series. When Dom even whispered into his ear, I guess he said, dude, I paid you not to do this, but because he wasn't listening to him, Dominik took his foot, and good grief, he booted this guy halfway across the ring. He also hit the splash of the frogs before finally Rey Mysterio came running out to make the save. So imagine this, if the backstage environment was real, Rey was just hanging out playing Nintendo when someone came running in saying, oh my gosh, Dominik Mysterio is beating up a John Cena impersonator, when Rey decided, well, I guess he is my son, I'll go sort it out. Dominik then found the Judgment Day and they all had a good laugh about this, and listen, if you watch any of my content for like a decade decade, you know that I love goofy wrestling for life. I don't think wrestling should be serious all the time. I think that would be a terrible idea, and actually less people would watch wrestling if we did do that. But I'm always going to be honest with you, I thought this was terrible. Now, as ever, if you enjoyed it, that's the best thing ever, because it's your entertainment hours, but it just felt so old WWE, and it wasn't funny then either. It wasn't funny when we did it with Bret Hart, it wasn't funny when we did it with Booker T, and it wasn't funny the other 14 to 15 times we did it then either. Like, what is the joke here? I don't understand it. It goes over my bald head, which to be fair isn't hard, but a little person dressed up as John Cena. All right, great. It would have been way better if we had done like what we did in Montreal in 2005, when Shawn Michaels was like, man, if Bret Hart came up right here, I would whip his ass. And you got the music, you get the pop, and then Shawn Michaels laughed at the fans. They don't understand the punchline. It's the audience. Ha ha, I got one over you. Whereas here, it's like, Dom, did you waste your money paying this guy some cash? Because also, he didn't listen to you, and then you had to whip his butt. I just think it makes wrestling feel really lame. And if you did show it to someone that didn't watch wrestling, they'd be like, yeah, this is why I don't watch to begin with. And actually, I think that wrestling can do better. I think it can be funnier than this. And I also didn't think it was a very good build to John Cena versus Dominik Mysterio round 2. I thought this was the perfect time for Dom to do the 180 of what he usually does and get all serious, be like, man, John Cena, I am going to be one of the last people to beat you. And let's not forget, if you do win your last match, I will be the last person to ever get an L or a W over you, Mr. Cena. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to win the IC title back. And I'm going to go on to become the greatest wrestler ever. That would have stood out way more for me, but we didn't do that. I am giving it a down. I want to make it very clear, because sometimes people say, oh, Simon, you're so wishy-washy with your words because you're trying to get a job in WWAW. I've been doing this many a year, and so far I have received no job offers. I thought this was downright bad. I didn't like it, and it's getting a down. I would just leave that stuff in the past, which I think I've made abundantly clear. And given that Rey Mysterio was in the ring, I think you went, hey, JD McDonagh, shall we just have a match? And we did. Look, JD has had a great in-ring 2025. He has just got better and better and had a great match with everyone. And I think Rey Mysterio may be the best wrestler of all time. He's 51 years age, and he still moves like it's the easiest thing in the world. And trust me, it's not. He could very well be the GOAT. I also like the fact we did do this, because I'm now imagining that Rey Mysterio does fight through the Judgment Day before he goes back into his feud with Dominik. Because, of course, Finn Balor was out there casting distraction, so put a one on the dick board. He even tripped Rey Mysterio at one point where he was going for the 619, when JD McDonagh hit a Spanish fly on Rey Mysterio. I don't know why this surprised me so much, but Rey can do everything. I guess it's because he's been through all of these generations, all of these decades, and he'll just take and give any move you can come up with. Once again, he is the best. Eventually, Rey realized he could just throw Finn Balor into JD McDonagh, which he did do. When he got the 619, he got the big splash, and he won. That's another reason I love Rey Mysterio. He didn't let the heels be dickheads. He was able to do this, and now, yes, he'll probably have a match with Finn Balor next week or the week after. Then he will be like, Dommy boy, I'm coming after you. I thought this was a good palate cleanser. After what had come beforehand, giving it up. Raquel Rodriguez then made a great point to Adam Pearce backstage. She was like, wait a minute, let me get this straight. Nikki Bella cost me my championship match when I was going after Stephanie Vaquer, and now she's getting a title shot. That's a bunch of baloney. Adam Pearce, that is a good point. After the Survivor Series, you can go back into the title picture. And then I was like, no, Adam. The correct response should have been, yeah, that does make sense. But also, Roxanne Perez was helping you too, so maybe we need to reset the deck. The New Day then walked in, so they're finally back on TV, which is a good thing. They made me laugh out loud right away, because they're such goons. But after yelling at Pearce saying, we demand a tag team title match, they actually got one, because AJ Styles and Dragon Lee want to take them on next week. Now, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston couldn't believe this. And then to celebrate, Grayson Waller put a wig on Adam Pearce's head. Adam Pearce made this noise, I think he said, get out. But listen, I do have to give it a down, which kills me inside because, again, the New Day are very entertaining here, but the Raw Tag Team division is just nothing. Now random people stroll into Adam Pearce's offices and we just get out of nowhere tag team matches. Again, the New Day haven't been on television in weeks, and I genuinely hope they enjoyed their time off, but we can just do so much more with it. So I want to make it very clear, it's not the talent, it's not the depth, it's the stories, and it's the angles, and it's just things happening for no reason. I don't get it. But I do think we need to start praising the New Day more. They are quite clearly one of the best tag teams of all time now. They are still making me giggle like a child. It's 2025, and they've been doing this shtick for 11 years. So look, that part gets down, but just the New Day, I'm giving them an up. I love them. I genuinely felt like I'd done drugs after this as well, because we cut to Brock Lesnar, who just walked into a room with Paul Heyman. I was like, it's happened again. This is WWE from 2015. Have I accidentally gotten into a DeLorean? When we got to the build for our women's War Games match, because out came Becky Lynch, the Kabuki Warriors, Lash Legends, and Nia Jax. Let's sum it up like this. Eventually, we will do our 10 best wrestlers of the year. When we get to that list, I think Becky Lynch is absolutely going to be in mine. This is her best heel work ever, bar none. I think she rules. Now, she got into what happened last week with Becky Lynch and referee Jessica Carr and said, listen, I got my lawyers on the case, so you damn well know this decision is going to be overturned. And as for you, AJ Lee, well, I am sick and tired of you sticking your nose into my business. Such a huge error, because now she is going to enter the War Games. When she is in there, Becky's going to break her in two. And also, look at this amazing team she has, such as Asuka. Then she said something along the lines of, I mean, I beat you 9 times out of 10, but you did make me work for it. When she told Asuka she had to shout at Kairi Sane, so she did go, Kairi. And Kairi's like, oh no, please don't kill me. When Becky Lynch was like, do you remember how I saved your life last week? That's right, now you have to be on my team. She went to Nia Jax after this too, and was like, oh my gosh, you're so powerful, but not as powerful as me. And she even referenced the time that Nia smacked her in the nose back in 2018, wherever the flub it was, and said, but you never saw me wearing a mask, unlike that idiot Rhea Ripley. Becky, you're the best. She then promised she was going to make Lash Legend a star, and I guess that was too much of the babyface team, because out came AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. And AJ was all like, oh man, you bark a lot like a chihuahua, but I'm going to bite you. Listen, I like AJ Lee. I think she's great. I think some of the messages she put out into the world are brilliant. Just was a little bit of a weird promo. AJ basically ran down Becky a little bit more when she passed the microphone to Rhea and said, Rhea, what do you think about this? And Ripley took the microphone and punched Nia Jax right in the face. Made me laugh out loud. That's basically assault. Then got this massive brawl. Of course, Io Sky got her moonsault in there, which she'll likely do on Saturday off the cage, wearing a trash can. And given that the baby faces were standing tall at the end of this, well, if we do lead into wrestling tropes, doesn't bode well for them. So listen, I'm going to give this an up. Like, once again, it was a very stereotypical WWE segment. And the issue that I have with it is I really do think this was the year where you either had a men's War Games or a women's War Games, when you look at the story and decided which one would benefit it more. At the moment, the kind of feuds of both of them, they're sort of there, but they're kind of crossing over like the Ghostbusters. Like, it's not bad. It's perfectly watchable. Like I say, you have to give it up for what Becky Lynch did. But it's lacking the oomph, as I do this weird chef hand thing here, that you would have expected from other War Games, but they'll probably still go in there and totally smash it. We wait and see. When we got to the worst part of the night, because it was the John Cena tournament, so was Sikoa versus Penta. And at one point, Penta jumped off Barry Barricade. He went for a Hurricane Rana, and he just landed right on his face. I did do a little bit of researching here. It sounds like his shoulder popped out. And given that he was going to lose the match anyway, WWE officials just went, we'll call it now. The ref will say that it's done and we'll just award it to Solo. And this is a good thing. Like, none of it is positive because you don't want anyone getting injured. But it is sports entertainment. We all know the real deal. Nothing is more important than people's health and happiness. So if you can just draw a line under it, well, we can all go, we understand, and move on to the next thing. It's what we should have done. I hope he's okay. I hope he's not out for a long time. But yeah, Solo Sikoa now taking on Gunther. And to be fair, I didn't see that match coming. But no ups, no downs. None of that is important. That's a stupid gimmick I have. I really just hope Penta is all right. But I like that WWE did do this, and we should do it across all promotions. When we had yet more bizarre backstage segments, because Maxine Dupree and Adam Pearce met up, and Adam decided to share the information that his phone had been ringing off the hook with women that want to compete with Maxine for that championship. And Dupree was like, oh man, I knew it was going to be difficult. Let me go and call Natalya. Now listen, I understand that her and Natalya have been friends on screen, I'm sure off screen for ages, but you literally told me last week that her new coach was AJ Lee. What the flub is going on? We always had no official challenger at this point. I was like, Adam, surely if your phone is overwhelmed, you could pick someone. When Ivy Nile returned to Raw, she just got right in Maxine's face and said, I want that title. When she walked off, because why wouldn't you do that? When Maxine then bumped into Raquel and Roxanne said, well, that looks like some wonderful gold. I would like that too. Adam then walked in, and he, rather than make an official match, decided to quip Maybe you should call Natalya after all. So this really was the epitome of Geese title shot 9000. People just walking around going, oh man, I want an IC title shot. And where was Lyra Valkyria? Lyra Valkyria should have been here going, well, Maxine, while I do like you, I wasn't allowed to challenge for the IC title when it was around the waist of Becky Lynch. So now I'm coming back for the belt that I must have lost. So none of this felt thought out at all. And given the right after it, we cut to a video packaging with Stephanie Vaquer, which was very good. It just told us that Stephanie was not going to cut a big promo in the ring. So I'm just going to give it a down. It just felt so directionless. And this IC title had a great 2025 to all of a sudden just randomize it. We need proper feuds. And maybe I'm being a nerd, and maybe I'm being a geek. And I love the fact that Ivy Nile could challenge with it. But why can't Ivy come back, destroy some person, then win another match, get like 4 or 5 wins, then say, Maxine Dupree, I'm coming for you? Nope. She just walks in and goes, get me in. I want it now, which is the problem with the TikTok generation. The audience retention, I'm joking now. We're going too far off piste. Giving it a down. However, with this Stephanie Vaquer video, although we should have had a big promo in the ring, it was really good because Stephanie, even though she has limited English, just knows how to be endearing and she knows how to get herself across. She even said here, Nikki Bella, I understand your past and I respect it, but it sounds like you haven't done your due diligence on me, so come Survivor Series, I'm gonna whip your ass. And I'm gonna give it an up. Same time, women's champion, she cut promos in the ring. It was our main event after this to decide who was going to have the advantage in the men's war games. It was Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul taking on the Usos. It was totally fine. It went exactly how you would presume it was going to go. So put a one on the dick board, but Bronson Reed was out there, Bron Breakker was out there. Out came CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. They all started to fight. Roman Reigns was nowhere to be seen because he couldn't be bothered. He had to have his entrance music first, which we'll get to in just 1 second. And when Jey Uso did a dive, put one on the dive counter, Jimmy was so impressed he went, yeah, when Logan Paul snuck up behind him and gave him the most devastating move. In all the sports entertainment surprise roll-up, he got the 1, 2, 3 and the heels had the advantage. And yes, halfway through this match, Logan Paul and Jey Uso went to do a move and they both fell on the floor. I don't care who is involved, I will die on this hill. Wrestlers make mistakes. Doesn't make them a good wrestler, doesn't make them a bad wrestler. Things happen in the moment, and believe you me, when they get backstage, nobody is going to feel worse than them. People just react so badly to botches. And also, I hate that word. And also, if we are going to talk about mistakes, that's only one I want to talk about. CM Punk ran in the ring instantly and punched Logan Paul when we did get a big old brawl, which is where Roman had to have his whole entrance, which made me laugh out loud because we've already seen it once. And he basically Superman punched everyone, because I presume he wants to be Superman. For some reason, WWE then pretended we were going to go off air because we got the credits, even though we'd done that tease recently with Brock Lesnar. But yes, Brock came out instead when he was doing his entrance. As the pyros were going off too, he slipped and he fell on his ass. Now listen, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy because you are on live TV. He just laughed it off and then he put a hat on Bron Breakker's head. So more power to him. At the same time, well, you know, he ripped his pants. Now he's falling on his bum. I'm just going to end that sentence there and I'll allow you to finish it. It was just so unexpected, and because he is Brock Lesnar and he's this massive beast, and because we had all the pageantry, well, it just couldn't have happened at a sillier time. But then yes, all the teams started to brawl as Joe Tessitore shouted, oh well, we've got to go off air. We'll see you on Saturday for War Games, or we already taped SmackDown and not a lot is going to happen, so you can probably ignore it. So once again, I would say this was totally fine, although I did think the match was kind of just there, which was a bit interesting, although at least we did make sure the heels got the advantage, which always makes for a better War Games match. But this is kind of like the women, we've already talked about it. When we do get to Saturday, you just know they're going to pull it out and do some crazy stuff that makes you go, oh my gosh, I love the War Games so much. Kind of feel like the heels are going to win as well because, again, the babyfaces can't get on. It's not the best go-home angle you will ever see, and once again, it did kind of feel like stereotypical WWE, which does rhyme, so it must be true. Still going to get it up. Which brought us to the end of the WWE Go-Home show for War Games, and yes, it was perfectly fine. I think we may have built angles here for deeper down the line. I think I said this last year as well, and I was totally wrong, but it almost feels like we have to get through Survivor Series, when all of a sudden things are going to ramp up again, and of course the focus will be on John Cena, but I laughed out loud. At least 10 times on this show, sometimes because I was meant to, and sometimes because I was embarrassed. I kind of want to give it a down just for that Dominik Mysterio segment. That's how bad I thought it was, but I'm going to give it an up for Becky Lynch. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below, because I'm sure some of you are so mad at me. How did you not like that Dominik segment? You can like it. I'm just saying it wasn't to my taste. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Smack It Down. Otherwise, have a terrific week, my friends, and I will see you through it.